Thupten Choling means Valley of the Dharma, and is an important Buddhist monastery that sits high in the Himalaya in the Mount Everest region, at the apex of the Junbesi Valley. Trulsig Rinpoche, who presides here, is an extremely important Lama who came here after fleeing Tibet many decades ago, and today his congregation has grown to over 800 monks and nuns, 80% of whom are Tibetan refugees. The original monastery built on this site was not well constructed because they believed that they would be allowed to return to Tibet. But Rinpoche is now 80 years old and has decided to build a permanent home here for his legacy. The construction began 2 years ago, and this footage shows the same site at that time, which we were just looking at from the hill above. These are the old monastery buildings, built in approximately 1968. In the first year, the foundation was excavated and the first courses of stone have been laid in. There are about 80 masons working here full-time, and they spend much of their day cutting stone. All of the work is done by hand. There are no power tools of any kind, and they are not using the wheel. This monastery is being built with the ancient tools and techniques. One year later, the building is looking very impressive. Obviously, this monastery is intended to be permanent, and it will last for many generations to come. The project crew is extensive. Besides the masons, there is an extended support crew of about 200 skilled laborers from across the region. But one of the major assets are the nuns and monks themselves, who provide most of the raw muscle power to move stone. Even all of the rebar and structural support work is done by hand. Some of the only modern elements in this construction are iron rebar and concrete, yet even the rebar is hand cut. The positive economic impact of this project can be seen in the very large number of jobs created. The head carpenter is one of the older monks who has been here for many years. Every piece of wood you see here has been hand cut. This scale model shows the upper structure that will be built above the last courses of stone on the top of the building. These openings will be glass panels.
Should I show it to you where here comes?
Yeah.
And we have nothing to do, we're playing around here.
Yeah, it's like a helicopter, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, Tibetan helicopter, we like it.
This is a ukam, huh? So this is our building here. That's a walkway, huh? So you can have light floating from the top also in. Huh?
Yes.
So you not only have these huge windows, but also a view.
Michael has been on the site for at least 2 years and is supervising the construction as it proceeds on a daily basis.
This is the shoe taking off area. So you go into the lakam from here, you go into the staircase from here.
Chisels are a very important part of this project because without pointed steel they could not cut this stone. The Hindu blacksmith is sharpening about 200 chisels a day. After the chisels are repointed, his helper redistributes them to the various masons and then makes another pass to collect the dull ones before returning to the smith's quarters. Everything in this region must be transported on the backs of porters because the wheel is unusable in this terrain. As an example of their ability to use every available resource, this door has been paneled with used cooking oil tins. The communal kitchens are the community's most important unrecognized asset for conservation planning. On the huge stoves, they're cooking for over 500 daily, and they use an enormous amount of fuel wood.
Ooh. Okay.
Because new communal toilet facilities were built a few years ago, raw sewage no longer goes directly into the river but into proper septic tanks, and this is a source of biogas which can be used as a direct replacement for fuel wood in these communal stoves. Here the nuns are making torma, which are effigies for use in ritual. This is the back side of the monastery, essentially the nuns' residential area. Because of the size of the settlement, houses are numbered. There are over 350 such houses here. As you can see, this community is very much involved in the economy of stone and wood, which all people are who live this close to the elements. There is a very large amount of fuel wood being used here on a daily basis. And considering the size of the community, this is the #1 resource use issue which must be addressed. The nuns are one of the most important assets here in terms of culture and labor. They're universally cheerful, helpful, and very hardworking. This work party is on its way to the stone quarry. The 500 nuns who reside here at Thupten Choling are providing the bulk of the labor at the stone quarry. Here are a few portraits of some of these charming ladies. A large part of the food economy here is based on cheese, and it is principally made into both yogurt and jerky. Here we see a nun making jerky to be dried in the sun. A large part of the population spend their time in study and receiving teachings from Trulsig Rinpoche in large communal halls such as this. Trulsig Rinpoche is one of the greatest teachers alive today. Outside in the river, there is a huge potential for them to gain energy for a variety of uses. Here we see the paddle for a stone grain mill.
Oh!
Robge is the technician monk who I trained to care for the electrical system. Here we see the intake impoundment for the hydro generator. There is 160 meters of 10-inch pipe delivering this water to 120 meters of 4-inch pipe. The settlement basin keeps silt and sand and leaves out of the penstock. The penstock that delivers the water to the generator is functional, but it needs some repair. Analysis will probably show that a 4-inch penstock is correctly sized, yet it is also probable that we'll be able to generate more power with this given amount of head, since the generator and the distribution wiring is in such poor condition. This wiring must be replaced. It was never properly installed, and there is so much leakage that by the time this 220 volt output reaches the buildings above, it's down to 175 volts. This is the old hydro generator that has been here for over 10 years. The bearings are shredded and the case has not been opened for its inspection in at least 5 years. It was poorly installed and never maintained. And the meters long ago stopped working. This view gives some indication of the total amount of head they have at their disposal for hydropower generation. The head is approximately 40 meters, and they could be generating a significant amount of electricity with a proper generator. This is a very important asset for the monastery and must be developed. Rinpoche has recognized that electric light bolsters the institution because it allows ritual and practice to be done much more smoothly and precisely, and there is no longer the need to burn kerosene for lighting. And this is a huge improvement for public health, literacy, and cultural survival.